Welcome to Starlight Talks. I'm here this week with Charlie again. She's been in past episodes, so if you want to go see more of her, you can click over. There's like 3 or 4 hours worth of her after you watch this. And if you've seen her before, she's back.
Yay! I haven't been here in a while, though.
So we're going to talk about managing meltdowns. So stay tuned for that. Check out our website. We've just brought to OurTism social events, and we're going to have on the 27th, we have a picnic in the park. So y'all can go sign up for that. That's a free event that's happening really soon. And we're like, if you join our email list, we send out polls and information about like what kind of events you want in the future. So come join, be part of that if you want to help create a social that you would like to go to. Your input is important. We have our support group as usual, so go sign up for the support group we have every other Thursday. And then Life Map is always available for anyone to sign up. Our mentor program for teens. I think that's everything. I have my blog on the website. She's 1 or 2 blog posts on there.
Yep. Not too many, sorry.
So you can check out that. All that's available on OurTism.com. And this live stream called Starlight Talks that I host is tailored to topics related to autism, and I try to do one every Wednesday at 7 Pacific Standard Time. So there's tons of episodes to go back and watch, and there'll be one next week, and I'll have Michael come on, who has written a full-length feature film and is trying to figure out how to make that. Which is pretty awesome. And I think he's only in high school, which is crazy that he's doing that. So come back to see that episode next week. This week we have Charlie, and we're going to talk about managing meltdowns. And so start leaving comments if you have any questions or comments, and just say hi to us. Let us know you're watching. We love to interact with you guys. So would you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, I'm Charlie. I've been connected to OurTism in some ways, but I've kind of had to take a slight break from the program just for my own personal reasons, but I'm trying to get back into it. I am, I guess, 21 years old now, and I have been, just working on stuff. I don't really know what to say about myself.
Well, you have autism and ADD.
I do have autism and I do have ADD.
And you are, you've done talks on the LGBTQ.
Yeah, I've done talks
on the Enneagram.
Yeah.
And hopefully you'll be hosting an Enneagram workshop again in the future, because I know we've had people requesting that.
I would like to. I've had a busy schedule.
Yeah.
Even now I'm just taking an online class, so I'm trying to juggle a lot of things these days. But I would like to do a workshop if I can. I just need to find time. But other than that, I came here and I kind of wanted to talk about managing meltdowns, basically, because it's something that I have personally been thinking about a lot in terms of how I deal with what I guess is a sudden and disruptive feeling of meltdown.
Do you want to define meltdown, first of all?
Meltdown I suppose there's a lot of ways that you could define it, but I kind of like to define it as a very intense emotional reaction that clouds kind of everything, including the way that you see everything. It's almost like feeling intense amount of pain, like life or death pain, sort of this threat. If I don't get this problem fixed, I'll die. If I don't like if I don't like manage a situation, I'll die. It's like that sort of thing where your judgment is completely clouded over something that may be minute or something that may be actually very huge. You could have meltdowns over things that I think you could totally deserve to have meltdowns over. Like some stuff is unavoidable, but for me, yeah, a meltdown is essentially a reaction in which you just feel a lot of it is like fight or flight instinct times a million, basically. And you feel trapped and you feel like there's no way out, and it's just panic.
I think you have smaller meltdowns as well that are a little bit.
You can have smaller meltdowns too.
Yeah.
But depending on how other people around you react to them, they can escalate them.
Yeah.
Or they can calm you down.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of here to tell you the ways that you can not escalate them and calm them down. I also do want to say that a lot of the methods that I've kind of come up with in terms of like how I deal with this stuff, they're not the end all be all to all meltdowns. Like, if like a family member dies, I don't know how I could help somebody with that in terms of like a meltdown, because I know that would give me a meltdown that I don't even know if I could manage. But that's sort of the thing about meltdowns. They're not all equal, but you can at least try to deal with them in healthy and productive ways, and you can at least try to get, yeah.
So do you want to start with like how you yourself manage your meltdowns, or do you want to start with like how other people can help you with the meltdown?
See, that's actually the interesting thing about my own methods, is that the best way I think I myself have learned to manage meltdowns is by trying to explain to others while I'm not having a meltdown, of course, like sometimes after the fact, what these people could have done and could do in the future that I think would have de-escalated it. Because in doing that, in expressing to other people what I need from them, I am also, in a sense, exploring to myself what I can also give myself and how I can nurture myself. And I'm really just also learning myself, what do I need when I am in a meltdown? What do I want from other people? What can I give that also to myself?
Yeah, and it's easier to know what you need and explain what you need when you're not in that state of mind.
Oh yeah.
Where when someone asks someone during a meltdown, what do you want? What do you need? You're not ever gonna get an answer that makes sense. Like
no, it won't make sense.
They're not capable of that kind of communication.
You're not capable of it in that moment. It's something that it's a good thing to reflect on yourself if you're the one having it. It's a really good thing to reflect on after the fact, what could have happened, what could have had done differently after everything has died down. Like you could think, what would have really helped me there, and then you can also express that to others in that more calm state of mind. Because yeah, when you're in a meltdown, you're kind of just basic instincts. Your IQ is kind of lowered a little bit, and that's just kind of how it is. It's like there's no logic anymore. It's terrifying. It's just pure fear, anger, frustration, rage. All sorts of things.
And meltdowns don't always look like tears. Like they can be anger, they could be like frustration, they could be like all different emotions. A meltdown is just like out of control. Some people get into fights when they have that sort of experience, but it all comes from that place of like feeling out of control, not knowing what to do. And it's so your body just starts reacting. It's like that fight or flight kind of thing. So you have people who freeze, people who get angry, people who run, people, so you'll see someone go hide in their room, or you'll see someone get very confrontational. You see someone just like sit down and not know what to do.
For me, I can identify two different reactions within me. I either get obsessed with, to the point of almost panically obsessed with, like, there's a problem. I need to fix it now, and I cannot rest until the problem is fixed.
And it's not always the actual problem that, like, like, sometimes you just need to, because it might not be concrete.
Yeah.
So, like, I've known, like little kids will be like, I hate this food, when like they're actually mad about something else, and like start throwing food, be like, I don't like it, when it's like their favorite food that they've always eaten. But like you need a concrete thing to get mad at.
Yeah. But I will get obsessed with something, or like unhealthily obsessed to the point where I'm exhausted, I'm totally exhausting myself. And I know that because I can feel my energy just draining. And the other thing that I'll do is, it's kind of straight up self-harm in a way where I'm just like trying to leave the situation, but it's the whole world and it's reality. So all I can really do is bang my head against a wall, or like claw at my hair, to think that maybe if I can just pull myself out of my skin or hit my head hard enough, that I'll be in a different like universe or dimension where this isn't happening. And that's how I feel in that moment. Those are like the worst meltdowns that I usually have. And those are the points where I feel like I do need other people to console me. I've even at that point learned to seek help in those moments as well, because it's unbearable being alone. It really is unbearable, in my opinion, being alone in those situations. The best thing you can do is probably seek help, but it can also be the worst thing you can do depending on who you ask. So you need to make sure that there are people you trust around you who know how to help you in those situations, and who you can rely on. My own set of, I guess, steps for how I've like described other people, how I want them to help me, is like, well, here's what I say you should never, ever, ever do, especially if this is based on like a situation that maybe they have that they may have wound up into, which oftentimes is the case with me. Say I'm having a meltdown over like, oh, I forgot to pay for my classes and now everything's gone, and now I can't get into the classes that I just like signed up for. And it's like, what would be the worst thing to say to somebody having a genuine meltdown in that situation is, well, you should have blah, 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 blah. You should have not done that. You should have done it earlier. And I'm like, cool, thank you for not helping and making me hate myself more. I want to die now. And that's how I feel when people do that. The worst thing you could ever do to anybody in genuine distress is say what they should have done in the past to have prevented this thing that's happening now, and now we have to deal with it.
Or to downplay how bad it is.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's not that bad. You can just do it next semester or next year. And you're just like, that doesn't help now.
Sometimes I do feel like there's a certain amount of space that you need to give for them to let someone almost feel just a little bit of what they're feeling, so they can at least get like the worst part out of the way. But the best thing I think you could do in like the very beginning stages of a meltdown is to ask if this person is okay and like safe, and almost to like give them like things that they may just need. But for me, I really like when, I guess, just maybe like, hey, do you maybe drink some water? And
it's better like just like putting a glass of water.
Yeah, putting a glass.
Than even asking.
No, yeah.
A lot of times you'll just get a no.
Yeah, no. Put a glass. You'll get a no if they say no. Just fill up a glass of water with them anyway. They'll be too stressed and angry to even stop you. If you put it in front of them, it's like you can
take that.
You can take that, and that's sometimes the best thing to do. Me myself, I'm preference to like having people be. I'm very, very sensitive to the tone in people's voices. Especially in a meltdown, I'm hypersensitive to everything. So I need people's tones to be very kind and very gentle, essentially, with me. Because if I sense even like a hint of panic in other people's voices, or like a hint of like anger or something like that, I will immediately think that the situation has escalated even further than it is. And the best thing that you can do is almost just remain very calm, because people need the situation around them to be calm when they're internally freaking out, so that they can kind of, it helps them have a better grasp on reality than they would if everything was chaotic around them. It can kind of help them later on also see that it wasn't as bad as it really was. It won't fix the problem, but that's the thing. You can't really fix the problem in that moment sometimes. And oftentimes meltdowns happen.
I know. All right, Jack.
All right. So, dogs.
Jack, Reggie, leave it. Yeah, I think one of the best responses is the validation.
Yeah.
You know, of like, sorry, that sucks, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry you're going through that. That must be hard.
Yeah, that's
like, all of those kind of things. You have a right to be upset. All those kind of things are really, really helpful. Just
yeah, and I think not always trying to fix the problem. You can't always fix the problem that's happening, and oftentimes I feel like meltdowns usually happen because there's a problem that you can't fix. Because I guess for me, it just winds up being that I just wind up feeling so trapped, and that can sometimes wind up being the thing that causes it. But in my opinion, yeah, the first thing that you should really do is like validate their emotions, but also remain very calm and very collected. And kind of, I like it when other people let me know that I'm not going to die.
Yeah,
from
it's
this.
gonna be okay.
It's going to be okay. You're safe, and even just sometimes like that'll make me feel really, especially if it's coming from my parents.
Like it's okay not to feel okay right now, but it's going to be okay. Like that kind of.
Sometimes even like if it's from my parents, so it's like I like to hear like something like, it's okay, I love you, and everything is okay, and it's going to be okay. Like, you're going to survive this. You are not going to die. And you can kind of get through that sort of, to just sort of get yourself through that sort of delusion that you are going to die from this. Okay, Jax is really...
Lillian. What's going on? Anyway.
All right. Yeah, but yeah, so essentially that sort of first stage is a really good reaction to have, which is basically just validating them, but also like making them feel safe, giving them safety, and making sure that they know that everything is going to be okay. It's especially effective, in my opinion, when it comes from parents, because that should be your element of safety for the most part. But So yeah, I'd say as it calms down though, when you start to like get down to like just this sort of weird depression-y stage of this meltdown, that's kind of a good moment to basically talk it out with them, but or even just like try and understand what the real problem is. But it's also, but I think at a certain point directly after a meltdown, you should just have to take a break, take a nap. That's always a good idea. I take naps after I have meltdowns all the time. But I do think that after like you do have a big meltdown or something like that, it's good to talk about it when you've calmed down, when you've like really calmed down about the situation. It's not good to just not acknowledge it so much as it is to like really acknowledge what happened and why, and maybe what you could do differently next time to maybe have prevented this whole situation that caused the meltdown in the first place, or even just to say, I wasn't satisfied with like the way you handled me here. It's a good time to essentially talk that through, especially when everything is resolved. But yeah.
Yeah, I think I've talked about these tools before. The tools that I use for meltdown is, at least individually, is be with it, is like understand that I'm gonna feel this and don't repress it and just accept it and let it pass, let the emotion take its course, and then reframe, which is like spin, which is kind of what you do, like I'm not gonna die, but I kind of try to make it a little bit more positive than that. So
yeah,
it's
well,
like,
mine go very dark.
You know? So if like I'm melting down, you know, about, let's say like plans were canceled, and because that's something very triggering for me, is like trying to deal with that kind of change. I go, you know what? It's not exactly what I expected to happen, but it's like I'm gonna make the best of it. You know, like that kind of thing where you reframe it into a more positive light, so that you're not like, because if you don't reframe it, but then it's gonna come back later on. So you've got to make sure that near sometime during that meltdown or after that meltdown, you reframe it. Reframe that mindset. That's an important part that a lot of people forget, because then the same thing just repeats. And as far as like someone else, is like the validation is really important. And I like my weighted blanket and deep pressure hugs and tea. Mm-hmm. So my animals, like all that kind of stuff. So like whatever like calms you down and works for you. Like I know people like to throw things and move around. That's normally not me. I know my sister likes to pace. So like do whatever safely. Listen to your body and what it needs to do, and do that. And normally your body will tell you if you need to run, if you need to sit still, if you need to eat something, drink something. I would say it's always better to drink something than is to eat something, because you don't want to like start eating things when you're upset, because your body will start doing that. But like if you like want to eat an apple, like you might just be hungry, and that's why you're melting down. And people get hangry, and those hangry episodes can get really, really bad.
Oh yeah.
So if that's the issue and you're not quite aware of it, then like definitely eat something, but I would say for like the most part, if you know that isn't why you're upset, that that would be more
There,
different kind of habit.
so there was something interesting that happened to me like over the spring. It was like I just got home from like taking a midterm, and yeah, I was like, yeah, woo, thank God, all that's over. And I was actually just cooking myself something to eat that night. Um, put a I put a skillet in the oven because that was the recipe that I was using. That's what it required. Then I took it out of the oven with oven mitts because I'm not an idiot. And then I put it down on the stovetop, and then I took off my oven mitt, and then I realized that I should move the skillet to the back of the stove because I didn't want it to be too far forward because it was hot. And funny that I thought that because it's hot, because the handle is hot, I should move it back. But because I did it so quickly, I reached for the handle, which was in the oven on broil, with my bare hand, and I just grabbed it. And then, man, I just burnt the whole surface area of my right hand, my dominant hand. And
like doing the steps out of order is very common with ADD.
Yeah, burnt the whole thing. Knew oh God, that was a tight grip that I just did. It was second-degree burn type thing. I did have to go to the emergency room to get it like taken care of. And even then, I was like, cool, won't have a use of my hand for like a week. I was so surprised at myself though, because I felt like a year ago this would have been meltdown material. And yet for me then, I was just like, it's just after a midterm, I just wanted to eat something. I made something that looked so good, and now I don't even want to eat it because I have to sacrifice my hand for it, and I'm bitter about that. So, but I was just like, God, okay, well, what's the bright side of this? At least this didn't happen before my midterm. It happened after. So that's pretty good. That's better.
That's really good.
That's better than it happening before, because then I wouldn't be able to do anything for that. That was sort of a bright side I looked at. Another thing is just like, well, this definitely probably hurts way more than it would if I ever cut off my hand. But like, also, I didn't cut off my hand, so I'm gonna get it back. So that's pretty good. I'm gonna get my hand back eventually, and I did. But it's so badly hurt. And the strange thing was that when I just thought about it, like logically, it was like, this is also like it's just physical pain, and I just need to deal with it right now. And ice is making it feel more manageable. And yeah, yeah. I just think, yeah. All right, I'm just watching this now. Sorry.
I don't know. Sorry about that.
All right.
Yeah,
but like it's funny because even that physical pain wasn't bothering me. What I realized is I kind of just went over how it was going. Instead of like really freaking out about it, I kind of just thought instead like, okay, logically, how am I going to now deal with this? What do I do next? I go to the emergency room. I see how long this will take to heal. And I'm like, probably a week. And even then, probably a little bit longer, but I'm going to be using my hand before that, so whatever. And I just kept thinking to myself, well, that's irritating. Oh, well, I'm just going to deal with it. And that was interesting attitude that I had that I realized I never really had that before then. And I realized to myself that it's just like, the more I've been analyzing why I have meltdowns and what really causes them, the more I've actually been able to prevent them from happening in these sort of certain situations. Not all the time, but
the more you learn about yourself and your triggers or whatever you want to call it, causes your meltdown, like the earlier you catch them, and the earlier you catch that spike in emotion, the easier it is to calm yourself down. It takes a long time to get there.
Yeah.
And like the hardest part about calming yourself down is recognizing you're in a meltdown, because one of the things that happens when you're in an unhealthy mindset is everything goes numb and stops sending the signal that what you're feeling and what you're going through. So that's why all of a sudden you're way, way, way up here and you're like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed, because all that time your body stopped sending you signals and you stop listening to them. And so like that's common. So if you're checking in with yourself regularly and you realize I don't know what my body's feeling, you probably are in an unhealthy mindset.
Yeah.
There's something going on. It might not be a meltdown, but there's probably something going on and you should figure out what it is.
Well, in my experience, the more I feel like I'm depressed or something like that, I feel like the more likely I am to have a meltdown. And what's been really good for combating that sort of feeling is like trying to get myself back into a situation where I feel like I am actually in control of myself. I'm in control of what I do and my actions, and I'm not, and like basically what kind of helped me in that situation was all throughout those past few weeks, I had actually just been deciding, I'd been making like a lot of different decisions in which I was just like actively trying to combat my own issues with procrastination, saying to myself that I just need to do things, and if I just try more to do them, even just a little bit, even if I'm just half-assing it, even if I'm just doing just a little bit at a time, I'll feel like I'm more in control of myself and I'll feel a lot less depressed. And in a strange way, I felt like that was kind of what was able to help me feel like I had control of myself, even in a moment where something completely unexpected and honestly really irritating and annoying and painful happened to me. I managed it because it's like, realistically, what can I do about this now? I'm still in control, and I need to just go over what I need to do next with this situation, with this new irritating situation that I'm going to have to deal with that's eventually going to be in the past. And yeah.
If anyone has any questions or scenarios that they've gone through with themselves or their children, please let us know. We'd love to answer those sort of questions and respond. You see, if you're trying to remember if I have any stories about meltdowns. I know I had so many while in school, both college and high school. Where I've had like way less since I left school. Just been nice. Because I know school can be very triggering and stressful and overwhelming. It is. Yeah. You gotta get all those points. You gotta make friends. Just a lot of very tiring, and then you gotta get up so early. That in itself can be like such a meltdown to like have to wake up in the morning.
Okay, don't agree with that myself. I love waking up at 5 a.m. because I like it when I'm existing in a world where no one's awake and nothing exists for a little bit. I feel like I'm alone, and I like that, so I wake up at 5 a.m. every morning. Yeah.
I have a huge fatigue, so not like waking up.
I like to wake up pretty early myself, just because it's good. And I actually do think I am a morning person because I'm way more grumpier in the afternoon.
Mm.
And I feel like that's the point where I'm like done with everything. And I'm done with all of you, and you're all irritating me today.
I'm a morning grump.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm tired in the morning, I'm grumpy. If I'm tired in the evening, I'm all giddy, and I get accused of being drunk. Yeah. Do you think of any specific meltdowns?
I took a final and then I lost my wallet. That was another meltdown that I had. That was an actual meltdown. I took my final, and then on the way back, I lost my wallet for a little bit.
I would say
that sucks.
Yeah, finals can cause a lot of meltdowns. I had a meltdown.
It wasn't the final. It was just after I took it.
Yeah.
And then I lost this thing. I was like, I am so done with my life now, and I don't want to deal with this. Yeah.
I had the meltdown was for 3 days in a row. I was supposed to take a final and then wasn't given the accommodations for, like, one of my accommodations was if it was multiple choice, that they don't give me all of the above, none of the above, some of the above, that kind of thing. And every day I came in and they had not changed the test for that. And so 3 days in a row, I was like, oh, I'm ready to take this test. And then couldn't take the test. So I had a meltdown like that last day. And I went,
Oh.
That was in high school. Not a lot in high school, but I can't remember all of the
accommodation.
Yeah, because for me...
But no, it's a good one.
It's a good one because, like, a lot of times with ADD and autism, that abstract kind of thing just confuses the heck out of us. Like, we need a concrete.
I mean, I love abstract things, but then
no, the abstract of, like, none of the above, and you're like, it's meant to trick you.
That is different.
You know, that kind of stuff.
Well, the thing about multiple choice is that it is concrete. It's not abstract. If it was abstract, it would be something that I could actually write about in an essay. I love that stuff, kind of. I mean, it stresses me out and exhausts me, but I like it.
Yeah, like, I can give you the answer, but, like, if you're trying to trick me and I fall for your trick, how does that show what I know?
Yeah.
And we're very gullible people, I'll say typical people. So we fall for tricks.
I was pretty good at tests, so I never asked for that accommodation.
I was more good at tests. I was good at essay tests.
I didn't like essay tests. Unless they let me type. Because otherwise,
that was one of my accommodations, being able to type.
Yeah.
Being in a quiet room.
Even if they were, I don't like writing a whole essay in one sitting. It feels wrong.
I like doing that.
Does not feel like I'm giving you my best work. I feel like I'm giving you...
In high school, I, wrote all my essays in, 30 minutes.
I mean, so did I, but,
And I remember one of my teachers didn't believe me. I'm like, give me an essay. And I sat down and just wrote it. And then I wrote essays I didn't need to write.
When you're in high school,
I was bored.
They don't really teach you how to write essays in high school.
No, but once I figured it out, I had a lot of fun.
Well, no, it's not that they don't teach you. It's just they don't teach you how to write essays, and then you get into college and you're like,
they don't teach you how to write college essays, that's for sure.
High school essays are dumb.
You have to write the 5-paragraph essays. They never give you any more than that. And then in college, you're like, write a 20-page essay, and you're like, I've only written a 5-paragraph essay. I don't know how to do anything else. And then some schools, it's this is where you put the thesis, and this sentence is this, and this sentence is this, and those poor people who have to then go to college and write.
There's no rules, but also there's every rule. There's all the rules, and then
it's read my mind and know the rules my class gives.
And also, you have to do it in this format you've never heard of.
Yeah.
Yay! Cite all of them like that.
Because not everything's MLA in college. Fun fact.
No, in fact, it's usually not MLA. It's usually anything else.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to write essays. Yeah, but I had more fun with that than in high school. Like,
Honestly, I had more fun with those essays too, even if they're
because they let you do more things.
I found it easier though, more when it came to things like English stuff, but when it came to stuff like actual, like, more sociological stuff, like I took an ethnic studies course, I took a sociology course, hard to write about this stuff. Really hard, especially because they're like, well, you should also come to your own conclusion from all of the things that we've given you to read. I'm like, I'm not as smart as them. I'm not confident in my opinions here.
Oh yeah, I took an ethics class and they're like, okay, now, like, come up with your own ethics. I'm like, but all of them are good.
I'm not good at
it's
coming
like,
up
choose
with
one. I'm like,
What's your opinion on stuff? What's your opinion on all of this really high concept and really complex things?
Yeah, and
I'm stupid.
Like, I get if you were like an ethics major, but like
I was
a film major.
This is an intro class. I feel like if I do anything, I'm gonna like regret it later.
Or like, there's some professors, I never had this, but I've heard from some people they've had professors that like, you can only use these sources, and I'm like, what? Don't you want to use like your own sources, like the ones that support you in what you're arguing? So that's interesting.
Yeah, those essays are hard to write, but like, I like reading the stuff that they give me. I think that stuff's interesting because it's up my alley.
I had a different experience than a lot of people in college because I was in film, so like, we didn't have like a lot of traditional essays. Ours was like, analyze this movie, and like, pre-production is like, it's sort of like essays. It's like, how you made the film. So there's like all that kind of stuff that you do, which it's just like different, but there's still a lot of writing that you do. It's just not like formal essays. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not the type of person who would take a film studies class lightly. Those seem like very heavy work.
Film studies is different than like creating a film.
Yes, both of them seem
like that is some stuff.
It's hard. I mean, I took a little bit of one before I dropped out, which I actually liked this class. Yeah. Even though it stressed me out so much. I was like
people think it's gonna be easy, like, ooh, watching films. Like, no, you have to analyze them, and you have to like analyze the director, and like,
it's so fascinating to me, that stuff, because I do that regularly, but then when you take it in a class, it's like,
well, now you have to turn in like all these essays about it, and like,
I mean, it's something that I like doing, but it's also like work, like really hard work to do. But also, so are your film classes.
Yes.
They're also hard work. They're group projects too, which I hate.
Yeah, you gotta be social if you're gonna make films. And we talked about that last week, so go check that film episode out that I did with Amos. We talked about making films and animation.
Yeah.
Animation's a little bit more social than you would expect as well.
It actually is. Well, it's a team effort. You gotta work together. I just know this, knowing animators.
I mean, I guess that's
studying animation
on the part of the animation you're working in.
Yeah, it's not a job that you actually work from home for a lot. It's hard to do. Film and animation are hard to do.
A lot of hours.
A lot of things.
Important jobs, but it's a lot of work. A lot of hard work.
Respectable jobs, in my opinion.
And I feel like a lot of people on the spectrum are drawn to those jobs. I've just found a lot of people through like not a lot of people diagnosed them. No. But I get point. I like go to work and I'm like, oh.
I agree with that majorly. There's so many autistic people in just the creative arts that you wouldn't.
Like, we get labeled, like, science, and, like, to an extent,
I know some people who like science and math, but I actually know a lot more people on the spectrum who like art. But like, I do know a lot of autistic people who like coding, though. Coding is the thing.
Coding is a whole nother ballgame.
It's different from math, though, because it's a different ballgame, yeah.
But like, you're still creating when you code.
Yeah, no, it is kind of a creative art, and those people are the people who like to make video games usually.
There's like a lot of math in the arts that you don't realize, like architecture and cinematography and editing. A lot of that does use math.
Mm-hmm.
So
even just working in something like computer animation, it can be good to know stuff about coding, and then from another standpoint, math, that's pretty important to know some stuff about when it comes to things like coding.
This home. Zadie, thank you for replying, and we're seeing your comments.
Yeah.
If anyone else has any comments or questions, we'll just keep rambling, because I think we moved on from Meltdowns.
Yeah. It's only
and that's okay.
There's only so much time that you can talk about them.
Let's see. Let's talk about going back to the thing I said about going out of order with your ADD that I referenced when you were talking about grabbing the pen. I want to dive a little bit more into that. I've talked about it a little bit in the past, but I don't, because I did a whole episode on what ADD is, and it was really funny because I had someone there with ADD who thought they knew about ADD, and she was like, I didn't know all the things you were telling me, and like as you were telling me, I was like, oh, I do all those things. So, executive functioning, one of the things under that umbrella is the order of things you do, and to an extent, autistic people also do this, but ADD do it way more. It's like doing things out of order. I know one of the things I've done once in a while is open up my phone to text someone and then close my phone, and then like I texted them, like, but I didn't do the middle step. I know like people with ADD are like, yeah, I texted you, yeah, I emailed you, yeah, I called you, and like they thought they did, but they skipped the actual step of doing that. There's like they get called procrastinators or lazy because like they'll wake up in the morning and be like, okay, step 1, get on the school bus. And like there's a lot of steps that come before that, and then they're stuck in bed going, what is step 1? It's put my shoes on. And then and they have to like, their brain has not gone, step 1 is like get out of bed. You know? So there, I know that's happened. I know that's an extreme, but like I'm trying to show you.
It's very extreme. For me, it's more just minor stuff, because I usually actually get the job done in a very out of order, chaotic way. But it's like, I mean, I know time and I know routine, so like that stuff's good. I'm typically not late to things because I am always looking at a clock. And I'm always irritated when other people are. It's the one non-ADD thing about me is that one particular thing. But other than that, I think I notice this when I'm like even just cleaning my room or getting ready for the day. It's like the steps in which I'm going to do this thing are never going to be the same as when they were before. And eventually I just kind of give up and do whatever I feel needs to be done. And then it just winds up working, I guess, for me.
So a big oopsie could be grabbing the pan and then putting your mittens on.
That I've honestly only ever done that once, and I'll be honest, it was because I was slightly distracted by like my phone.
But like you can see, it can go from a little thing, as in like taking your pen to write and then clicking it, or it can hurt yourself. You can hurt yourself in the process of like going out of order.
That's the only time I've really burnt myself while cooking.
Well, yeah, but I'm sure other things have happened. I know, like, people, like, go to cross the street and then look, and, like, it's just, like, so you guys, people, you can see, some people also need more help than others, if that's a area that they have difficulty in. And you could, like, pound it into their head. You have to look before you cross the street. But it's, like, if the executive functioning puts it out of order, then it's just that they're going to do things out of order.
Well, I'll tell you what. Grocery stores are the enemy of ADD. They are the mortal enemy of anyone with ADD. Even if you bring a whole shopping list of everything that you need, it's like, everything else is good besides these things, and this is all I need to get. Welcome to hell. Vons is hell. Really great store. I think my route in it changes every time I go. And I'm always going back to the aisle in which I realize wait, I'm still missing the thing on my list that was probably in the first aisle. Great. Time to do a cool zigzag through all of them. And also just be overwhelmed by everything that's happening to me. And wait, maybe I also need bacon strips. Or do I have them at home? I didn't write that down on my notes. And then sometimes writing a shopping list down and like thinking, I should just take a picture of that before I leave to go to Vons, because I have a different list and it's more complicated. I just need to take a picture of it before I leave. And I leave, like, cool, I'm now missing my shopping list, and now I have to walk all the way back to my apartment. It was 5 minutes away, so I just done a 10-minute walk, and it's gonna be 20 minutes when I go back to Vons with the list.
Where with autism or with the executive functioning is not knowing how to break it down into steps. So we'll often like make a list of here's step 1, here's step 2, and like have that. Where like, but with ADD, you could have that list of steps, but you're still gonna do them out of order. I
think the worst time I ever did was when I left. I got halfway to Vons, realized, I don't have any of my shopping bags. I need to go back. Then went back, then left, got to Vons, realized I don't have my shopping list. And at that point, it was like, if I didn't have any, like, if I would have not gone back to Vons, but I also like needed food a lot, so I just had to waste an hour of my life and got a really great walk-in.
Maybe
got some good exercise.
Decide where you live, it'll be like right next to the grocery store.
Literally, I mean, at that point, I was almost considering just going to Rite Aid instead and just getting some ramen noodles, and that'll be what I have. Because Rite Aid is closer, at least, but I've been there too many times. I know everyone who works there, and they all probably know me as the person who gets awful junk food and just doesn't have my life together at all. I'm so embarrassed to go there because that's just where I go to get that kind of food.
We probably aren't judging you at all.
Maybe. Maybe.
I just hope they know not a grocery store.
I just hope they know that I am getting like real groceries, like with healthy food and things like that, because I just want them to know that I'm not all just ramen noodles, spice, salt and vinegar chips, and like all the other stuff that you would not want to put in your stomach for a long period of time. Yeah.
All right, we're about wrapping up our time here. So if anyone has any final comments or questions, please ask them. If you missed the beginning spiel, please check out our website, OurTism.com. We have an event coming up, a picnic social, so come join us for that. For adults on the spectrum, we're starting our social, so that'll be our first one. Sign up for support group and life map and mentor program, sign up for everything. I said that like and, not like or. Check out the blog. We both have written blogs about what's like living with ADD, living with
I also have autism.
Yeah, I was gonna point to me where I was like, we both have autism.
Yeah.
Yeah. And come back next week. His full name, Michael Anthony Greenfield, I believe. If I got that wrong, so sorry. He's coming next week on Starlight Talks next week, 7 o'clock on Wednesday. So yeah, check us out. Do you have any final parting words for everybody?
Bye. I hope you all have a good night. I want to Uber home before it gets dark. So.
All right, stay colorful.
Yay.